All right, YouTube. Repo Man 64 out here in the secret broadcast cave. Got my hair cut. What's left of it. Um, by the time you see this video, you will have heard about a half an hour ago, President Trump, or what do you call it, retired President Trump? Uh, he was shot. No, I don't think, and I know this is going to come out very quickly, that he is the Antichrist. He did not receive a fatal head wound. However, it is prophetic in that God is directing us. These types of events come in threes, like the ships hitting bridges, all the things that we see happen, they come in threes. So you've just seen a very important political figure get shot. I think he got hit in the ear. It's not a fatal head wound, so he's not the Antichrist. Let's not go down that path. But I do believe it's the precursor to what we're about to see, in that this is going to happen again. They've set it up, and now it's going to happen again. I will be curious to watch Jose Aquaviva and what he comes up with on this, as far as the way he does his numbers. So I can't do what he does. It's amazing. Now, the Sabbaths. I'm going to prove that it's not the moon. It's all about the Sabbaths. And it's really simple. I've been stewing on this for quite a while. I keep seeing these very educated YouTubers that put together channels, and they're very smart, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but they will ignore the fact that the translation of the Bible for new moon is Chodesh, and Chodesh simply doesn't mean moon. You got Reach, Saline, mean moon, and then Chodesh means month. So I'm about to prove that to you. My hat's off, kudos to Sister Sandy. Her website, and I'm going to put a link to that in the comment section. This is going to go as a premiere, which means I'll be in there live, communicating with everybody, but the video is being made now. It is Eastern Standard Time, 6:46 p.m. But I want to thank her. She's absolutely amazing. She is tireless. I mean, she's from New Zealand, and I don't know how far apart we are on hours. I think it's something like 14 hours. It's a crazy number. And so when I'm sleeping, she's awake. But I built this new timeline of sorts, mapping out the Sabbaths. Super simple, super easy to understand. So much easier. I love my timeline because it shows the distance between the events, but this here shows all the Sabbaths, and I'm going to present that to you. And there's some symmetrics in it that's going to blow your mind, honestly. But she works tirelessly over and over. I found a mistake here, a mistake there that I had made, and she went back and corrected it. And then finally, I have the finished product. But she worked for hours on this thing. I worked for hours. I started at work yesterday. I kept asking, like, it's been a week since I made a video, and I've been asking for a week, Lord, how am I supposed to explain to them that it's not the moon in a simple fashion to where everybody can understand? And then I got the answer. If that's, the way I would describe it, is I got the answer. I know exactly how to explain it to you, so you will understand. Everybody will. So with that being said, let me get into the pictures. Again, this graph, Sister Sandy made it, and her website. And she doesn't work for me. She doesn't have a website just for me. She actually has a website like Revelation Watchman 777. He's made timelines that she's put on the graphs. I just don't know how to do it. I know it's a computer program. I know I'm on a computer right now, but she knows how to do it to where it looks right. I wouldn't know how to do what she does. So she offers her services free of charge to us to help us out. And I can't thank you enough, Sister Sandy, for that. I really appreciate that. All right, now let's share the screen down here. All right. And let's minimize this screen and bring this screen up. So let me move myself out of the way, maybe down here. I don't know if I'm out of the way down there or not. All right. Now, this keeps happening. It's still happening. What it's beginning to mean to me is a warning from God that something's about to take place. July 7th, 7/11. Oh, thank heaven for 7/11. 11/11. So thought this just keeps popping up. What exactly it means, I'll leave that to another channel to explain that, why that keeps happening. I'm not looking for it. It just keeps happening. All right. Now let's go a little bit bigger here. Can I move this down? Yes. We are in Exodus 20. Let me put on my glasses so I can see. Exodus 28. Exodus 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Now, I say this, there's a misunderstanding. God is not telling us to, well, he is telling us to keep the Sabbath day holy, but we're not under the law, so we don't. It's the 1 out of 10 commandments that we feel that we don't have to obey. What I find interesting is that there is a church, what is it, Seventh-day Adventists, that say, well, the Sabbath is Saturday. It really isn't. There aren't 365 days in a year. There are 364, and every single year on the Gregorian calendar, the Sabbath changes. It never stays the same. Satan worked really hard, starting in 400 BC with King Antiochus forcing the new moon calendar onto the Jews, and it has found its way into Torah. And subsequently, we have translated our King James Version from Torah. So I'll show you those passages and what they actually mean. Remember the Sabbath day, and I'm not promoting the Seventh-day Adventists here at all. So don't think that. I want to show you what he meant by this passage. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but on the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord. So on the first day is the first sliver of the moon. And on the seventh day is the Sabbath unto the Lord. But then we have to skip to the 15th day because that's where the moon will be full. And now that's that's not what's written here. It's so basic. It's so simple. 6 days, the seventh day rested. 6 days, the seventh day you rest. 6 days, the seventh day you rest. But on the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. And I'm about to show you that here in a second. In it thou shalt shall not do any work, thou nor thy sons, nor thy daughters, thy maidservants, nor thy manservants, nor maidservants, nor thy cattle. Remember when Jesus sent them to get the donkey and the colt? They were there. Why were they there? They should have been out working. They were there because it was the Sabbath. It was Saturday when he got the donkey and the colt, and he rode in on rode in on the triumphant entry. For in 6, he repeats it. This is super important. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So this is a very important day. We need to figure out when this is, not moons, not, it's just Saturday. Let's just name it Saturday. No, it's the seventh day, and we have to know when it is. I don't think you're going to figure out, or any of us are ever going to figure out when the rapture is going to occur until we understand this right here. God's seventh day Sabbath. We have these 10 commandments. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any engraven images. As a Christian, we keep these laws. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. We know breaking any of these 10 commandments is wrong. Remember, number 4, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. We don't know when the Sabbath day is. We don't keep it holy. It is the one commandment that Satan has attacked the hardest. Why do you think that is? That Satan has attacked commandment number 4 harder than he has attacked. I mean, there's people that kill. There's people that commit adultery, men and women. Thou shalt not steal. There's thieves everywhere, lying against your neighbor, wishing you had your neighbor's stuff, jealous of them, false gods. I mean, that's anything. That's your love of your house, your motorcycle, your money. There's all kinds of gods that we worship. Thou shalt not make any engraven images. Go into the Catholic Church, and that's all you will see are engraven images that they bow down to and worship, hoping that they intercede for them, when you could just go straight to God, your creator. You don't need any of that. Number 3, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain. We know all of these 10 commandments. We know them all. Honor thy mother and thy father. You get upset, you get angry, you hurt yourself, and the first thing you do is take the Lord's name in vain. Not all, I'm just saying. But we know these 10 commandments we should obey. We shouldn't kill, shouldn't commit it. But number 4, nobody knows when the Sabbath day is. But God said in the 10 commandments that we should know. And I'm going to show you when the Sabbath day is. Super simple. Now, I want to point out the word that keeps coming up that I keep seeing. And all you have to do, and if you're a good Berean, you will do this. You will always see every single time. I haven't seen one instance yet where the Hebrew or Torah made a mistake and accidentally called the moon, when it was speaking about the moon, Chodesh. Never. It's never done it. It's always called either Selene or Yarich, and the illumination of the moon, Yarak. That's it. I've never seen an accidental translation of the moon. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon, G 4582, under her feet. Moon, G 4582. You will never, ever see them translate, where they're physically talking about the moon under her feet, a physical moon conversation, other than in Greek and in Hebrew, translated Selene and Yarich. It is used 9 times in the Bible, and it means moon, not month, not moonth. That's that. How lucky to be an American, right? Speaking English. Moon sounds like month, so we'll call it moonth. Out of the 1,000 languages on the planet, we are the ones lucky enough to have our month sound like moon. But they did that because of what King Antiochus did in 400 BC. You'll never accidentally see where it really means the moon accidentally translated in Chodesh. It won't happen, because Chodesh doesn't mean moon whatsoever. All right. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained. There's the moon again. This is Old Testament. Let's see how remember this here? We find this in Revelation, New Testament. New Testament uses the word Selene for moon. Old Testament, Psalms 8. Let's see, where's the moon at again? Right here, H 3394. H 3394. You go look it up. Be a Berean and do this study. It's amazing to me how deep people will go into this and just ignore this fact right here, which, again, the moon is translated Yarich in the New Testament, 3394, 26 times, and it actually means moon. That's what it actually means. All right, let's go on to the next one. Then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon. The new moon, H 2320, Old Testament, H 2320. What does H 2320 mean? Chodesh. Chodesh in the King James, translated from Torah, translated the word Chodesh to month 254 times. But for some reason, they translated it to new moon 20 times, and monthly 1 time, and then another usage 1 time. That is, what is that, 274? It's 270, oh, it's right there, occurrence, 276 times. These 20 times should have been translated as month, but they didn't. They translated new moon. It does not mean new moon. It means month. 254 times it's translated as month. Why this one time, Chodesh, did they translate it to new moon? Then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new month, and thou shalt be missed. They have a celebration on the new month that falls on a Sabbath. I'm still trying to link that. I would love some comments and help linking what you would see as the new moon to a Sabbath. I'm going to show you something on this graph that I built. Sister Sandy put together for me. Incredible. Again, Chodesh translated 254 times his moon, 20 times a month, and 20 times his new moon. Don't know why they did that. He hath taken a bag of money. This is, everybody jumps on this. Oh, look at this. It's the full moon. It's the full moon. Guaranteed, right? He hath taken a bag of money with him and will come home at the day appointed. They call this the full moon. It is not. It's a whole new word that we haven't seen yet. That word, 3677, is kaseh. And kaseh actually has two different spellings. There's four in all. This one has two. I should have looked up kaseh, but it's spelled K-E-C-E. Kaseh, K-E-C-E-H. 3680, and it means appointed. There's an appointed day. And again, I'd love to tie in, and they're using the full moon right here. That is not accurate. It simply means appointed. That's what it actually means. It doesn't have anything to do with the moon. If it did, it would say Yarich or Selim, or Yarak, which means the reflection of the moon or the illumination of the moon. All right. So I'm at work. I'm working and I'm thinking, how can I relate this to everybody? I have done the math time and time again on calendars. I've got tons of them. I go by them every year, and I come in here and I put, let me see if I can, how do I stop? Right here, stop sharing. Yeah, stop sharing the screen, right? Oh, and I come in here. Can you see that? Because I'm in it. I don't know how to do this. There. Yeah, it's terrible. Can't see it. It's not going to do it. Okay, it's like I'm holding something invisible. But anyway, I get these calendars, and I go through but it's so confusing because I'm trying to apply the Hebrew dates to a Gregorian calendar. I did it differently this time. This time will be easier to understand. Let's share the screen again. All right. So I hope that thing goes up. There it goes. Okay. Now let's enlarge this thing. This is me the first day at work, and I begin saying, you know what? God made it so clear in the fourth commandment that we need to figure out when our Sabbaths are. We need to know. So I started Nisan 1. Forget about the Gregorian date. Place whatever date you want to start your year with. I think it starts on March the 17th. Some things it starts on the 21st with the sun going over the equator. Others use the moon and Aries. By the way, it was Aries when Jesus was here. In the last 2,000 years, it moved through Pisces. We just entered the age of Aquarius. Like, I think it was last October. So we're in the age of Aquarius now. We're no longer in the age of Pisces. So the rapture is about to occur by virtue of that. So anyway, I write all this down and I'm like, I don't have enough lines. There's 52 weeks in a year. And then I built this. I know, right? Amazing. But I decided to go week 1 and then week 2 and then week 3, which leaves this thing absolutely confusing. So Sister Sandy saw, I posted it in the Discord, and Sister Sandy saw and says, let me put that onto a timeline for you. And here it is. It took us back and forth 5 or 6 times to fix it, but here it is. This is the timeline that Sister Sandy has put together. Now, there is a fact that none of us can deny. The head of the year is Nisan 1, Rosh Hashanah. It was moved to Nisan 1 in Exodus 12. That's day 1. Day 1 is a Thursday. Let me explain that. Hold on a second. Yes, day 1 is a Thursday. Because down here, creation began actually on Elul 28, on September the 11th, which is a Sunday. That's when creation began. Day 1 of creation is here. I just showed you in the line. 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th day, Wednesday, God creates time. This is where time was created. This is the first day of time, second day of time, third day of time. That's why you will see Saturday and Wednesday used so much by God in the Bible, because Wednesday is a Sabbath and Saturday is a Sabbath. But Saturday is the primary Sabbath. It's the 7th day of creation. It's the day God rested. It is the 3rd day of time, after time was created. Okay, so something cool came out when Sister Sandy did this. It actually blew my mind. I want you to notice that. From the 1st month to the 5th month, we have a head of the month, and it lands right here. It lands on Saturday, the Sabbath. So when it says he hit himself and it was a very important day, it is not only the head of the month, the Rosh Chodesh, it is also the Sabbath. The Sabbath will be here on Saturday on the 3rd line. I had to do it this way because creation's time started here, which was March 17th, Nisan 1. All right. Now, 1, 5, 1, 2, 3. 1, 5, 3 jumps out here. The first day, the 1st week, the 5th week, and 1, 2, 3 days over. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 1, 5, 3. And guess what? It does it every. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Again, you can get this timeline on endtimestudies.com, endtime-studies.com. Look at this. Rosh Hashanah. This is IR 1. It happened on April 16th. 153. 153. The Sabbath. The Rosh Chodesh, the head of the month, happens again. It's a Monday. It happened on 153. 5 weeks later, 3 days later, and 1 day, the first day it started right here. 1, 5, 3. Okay. And then I wanted to show the Wednesday because it's also a Sabbath. These are the last Sabbaths of the year. There's only 2, but it happens to happen on every single how do you call it, the equinox, not the equinox, the spring, summer, winter, fall. I should have put spring, summer, winter, fall. This is when week 1, this is when spring begins. This is when summer begins. This is when fall begins, and this is when winter begins. I showed you the figure 8. I could show you again that it reaches the 23-degree mark on these dates. It stays in the 23.5 degree mark, and it exits out 14 days later. So right in the center is where you're always going to see what we would look at as the change of the season. So we would see December 21st instead of December 16th. We would see September 29th or 30th. Same thing here. We would be off by 14 days. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 7 days. We'd be off by 7 days because it's half the way through. So it'd be March 21. Then we would see 4 days, June 20, 21. Then we would see September 20 or so. And then we would see December 16th. All right. Now, I asked her to put on here the Noah events. It's all on here. Noah is in kind of a peach color, orange color, and there's a number next to it. And these events happened in order of the events of Noah's time. So Noah went into the ark on October the 25th, which was Heshvan 10. So I say all this to say this. you want to obey your Sabbath, these are your Sabbath days right here. The week starts here. This is the last day of the week, Saturday. And if you want to know, not your new moon, not your full moon, if you want to know the head of the month, these are it. April 16th was Ayar 1. Ayar 1 was not only a full moon, but it was a Saturday. It was a Sabbath. We call it Saturday, but it is the seventh day. It's the day God rested. So it is a new month, and it is a Saturday. Same thing will happen here, which is why I'm looking very closely at the first of Av. Remember, the first of Av is when Noah came down out of the mountain and he threw the tablets down. This would signify the divorce of God from Israel, not replacement theology. He's going to get them back at the end of the tribulation. He's looking forward to it. We're all praying for it and looking forward to it, that the Jews accept Christ. But this is where the divorce happened. It happened on July 16th, the first of Av. The tablets are thrown down. For me, July 16th at nightfall in Israel, becoming 7/17, is an extremely high watch day, very high watch day. I knew this, but I didn't see how it did the 1, 5, 3. Start off with 1, 5, 3. Every single time, 1, 5, 3. This shouldn't have happened, but it does. And the reason it does is because there are 4 days a year. There's never been, and I'm going to repeat this until I'm blue in the face, there's never, ever, ever, never, ever, never been 360 days in a year. There have always been 364. There are still 364. There has been since creation. There will be through. God's not speeding up the earth. When he said, until those days are shortened, that happens once every 50 years. And again, 7 years later, every 50 years. That happened from creation until 2023. 2023 marked the Jubilee from creation. That's 6,000 years from creation to 2023. That was the first Jubilee. The next one is when Adam was removed from the garden 7 years later. That's why he spent 7 years there. Those are the 7 good years. We're about to go into the 7 bad years. From the 2023 Jubilee, 7 years later, the 6,000 year anniversary from when Adam was removed from the garden, will happen in 2030 in September, and it will run through 2031, which is why Jesus, for us, what we see when we count back, it was the year 2030, but it's actually the year 2031 when he went to the cross. If you take your calendar on your phone, just scroll back to the year 30 AD, you will notice that the day Jesus goes to the cross on a Wednesday lands, which is the 30th of March, which lands on a Thursday, but the Gregorian calendar is off by 26 seconds a year. So if you use the Gregorian calendar and count back 2,000 years, you're off by a day. So the day actually, even though it says it's a Wednesday, they haven't taken into account those 26 seconds. I'm sorry, Thursday. It would show you it's a Thursday, but it's actually a Wednesday. So it was 30 AD from what we understand, but it will be 3031. Just like now, right now we're in the 2023 Jubilee, and we're in 2024. That happened September. That's 3 months later, became 2024, and it's going to run until September the 15th. For me, the last possible moment that it can be is going to be September 15th. Now, let me go back into this right here. This is a very high watch day. Now we're back to the Noah flood. Very important. These 3 events are very important. The 9th of Av, the 7th event, this is the moment where Noah let the raven and the dove go, and the dove came back with nothing. 7 days later, that's why it steps over. 7 days later, he lets the dove go, and it comes back with an olive branch. 7 days later, he lets the dove go, and it doesn't come back. The Bible says that he sat there after that event until here. Trumpets, the Feast of Trumpets. What is it? For him, it would have been the 7th month, first day for us. For him, it would have been the 1st month, and the 1st day for us, the 7th month, first day. Now, I want you to keep note. This is creation right here. It happened on September the 11th, Elul 28, and it went through Tishri 3, September the 17th. This is trumpets. This is where the head of the year used to be. Again, when we go back up here, that's day 1 of time. He created time over here on Wednesday. This is day 1 of time. But it is the 5th day of creation. All right, let me go make that a little bit smaller. Jesus goes to the cross here on Nisan 14. See, here's the thing. Just use the Hebrew dates. The head of the year is here. It's Nisan 1. If they're telling you, well, yeah, he went to the cross on Nisan 8. Well, let's look at Nisan 8 and say, did he go? Well, looky here, Nisan 8. Could he have gone to the cross here? Well, let's see. Could he go to the cross on a Thursday and rise? Now, remember, it says, there's a verse in the Bible that says, yes, and on the 3rd day, they saw Jesus. Look, it's still the 3rd day until it's the 4th day. It was 3.5 days later. Jesus was in the tomb for 84 hours. So when they make the comment, yeah, it's the 3rd day, it was, because it wasn't the 4th day yet. So let's just use Nisan 8. That's when, oh, was it April? Oh, no, they went on further. They went down to April. I forgot. Here we go. April the 8th. It's a Saturday. Did Jesus go to the cross on a Saturday? No, he went to the cross on a Wednesday. The Bible's clear that Nisan 1 is here. It happens at the creation of time. We know for a fact that Jesus went to the cross on a Wednesday, Nisan 14, and that he finished everything on the 3rd day, which is Nisan 17. But sometime at night, which I think was 3 in the morning, it became Sunday. That's when they found the tomb empty, here on Sunday. This is event number 5. This is where the ark, now over here is event number 4 for the ark. This is the cross. This is 150 days exactly. Where did this all begin? It began right here on November the 1st, October the 31st at nightfall, November the 1st. That's the second event. The first event is God told Noah to get into the ark. The self-same day, on the same day, the rain came down. People understood that, well, the rain must have started back here. No, it's just the self-same day. It's 8 days later. The rain began to fall. If you count from this moment right here, using a 364 calendar day count, the Hebrew day count, exactly 150 days later, just like the Bible says, we'll land right here on the cross. The flood, if you move the flood somewhere else other than November the 1st, wherever you move it to, if you want to move it down here, if you want to move it to December, go ahead. Count 150 days, because 150 days the water began to recede, and on the 7th month and 17th day, the ark rested. On the 1st month and 17th day, he completed the payment. This is where the ark rested on Mount Ararat. This is where the curse was completely reversed after 3 days in the grave, and then he rose here. That's why I tell you, this is super important. This is one of the commandments. You need to know your Sabbaths. 153, 153, 153. And that's that extra day. Enoch talks about there are 360 days in the year, but there are 4 gates that everybody, the people I notice that read Enoch, grab what they want and just run away. They don't finish completing read. I didn't have a dog in the fight. All I wanted to know was the truth of when these things happened. I'm not trying to prove the moon, the full moon. I'm not trying to prove 360 days a year. This wouldn't work. None of this would work if I used a 360-day year. Only a 364-day year can come down here to Adar 31, which is March 16th, the last Sabbath of the year. This is the day of equal parts, the day that marks. Did she put that down there? I asked her to put her website on. Let me see here. Down. Oh, yeah, there it is. www.endtime-studies.com. She put it down there. I asked her to put it at the bottom. All right, but this is the day of equal parts right here. The next day is the first day. There is no other event that anybody can point to that is as solid as the day of equal parts. It literally bounces around by seconds every year. The equinox bounces around, I believe it's 6 hours every year. It goes forward 6, then 6, then 6, then it bounces back 18, and it's a mess. It's not, you can't use it because you have to start your day, your year, on a Thursday, on the first day of time. Wednesday is when he created time. It has to start here in order for the cross to happen here on a Wednesday. It has to happen here in order for 3 days and 3 nights to be completed and Jesus rising on the first day. This is the only way it works. It's so simple. It is so simple. It's the only way it works. There's no moons involved. There's no anything else involved. No 1st and 15th. None of that stuff works. God worked 6 days, and on the 7th day, he rested. You have Ayar 1, April 16th, as a Rosh Chodesh that lands on a Saturday. You have Av 1, July 16th, as a Rosh Chodesh that lands on a Saturday. You have Heshvan 1, October the 16th, that lands on a Saturday. And you have Shavat 1, January 25th, that lands on a Saturday. That's it. And they all, every single one of them, when I laid it out like this, and I said, all right, let's go 6 days and 7 days of Sabbath, 6 days and 7 days of Sabbath, and let's count out 52 weeks, because there are 52 weeks in a year. 52 times 7 is 364. There are 364 days in a year. I had to, because of the Gregorian calendar, ask Sister Sandy to put the extra day here. I couldn't do it during creation. I couldn't do it during trumpets. I couldn't do it at any other point. This is the only point that I can see. And I don't know why, because if I move it past here, then all of these other dates go wrong. And I can't, and of course they're Gregorian dates. So these dates here are actually irrelevant. This is the date, the Hebrew date, that is the important date. This is when everything happened. The Bible says on Heshvan 10, I have it as October the 25th. God told Noah to get into the ark. On the self same day, which means 8 days later, on November the 1st, Heshvan 17, we all read it, it's Heshvan 17, the flood began. Count number 3, 40 days later, Kislev 28, which I shows December to the 12th. The third event, this is 40 days after it began raining. We have Hanukkah. Hanukkah always begins on Kislev. Remember all the hype about Kislev 24? It's December 8th to Kislev 31, December 15th. At the very end of December 15th, becoming Tevet 1, Tevet 1 is the day. It's almost like God wanted to spend this week with Adam. He sinned all the way back here. Adam sinned on November the 1st, October the 31st on Halloween. He sinned, Heshvan 17. God left him in the garden for 47 days. He left him there until the end of Hanukkah. And on Tevet 1, the 4th month and the 1st day, Adam was removed from the garden right here. Another incredible thing is Adam sinned right here on Heshvan 17. It is 47 days from trumpets. The Feast of Trumpets, Tishri 1 to here is 47 days. From here to here is 47 days. I could actually, there's so much symmetrics here. It goes from here to here to here. You could almost draw a line and make an arrow right there. Wow, I didn't see that. So I wonder, that would be centered. Let's see here. I'm curious. So one, I'm going to count the week of, because this is a week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. And then the week of again, because we're going to Heshvan 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I guess I would have to count the next week because I already used it up. But anyway, there's 7 weeks on either side. And in the center, that's exactly the same as how we determine the seasons. It begins here and it ends here. And right smack in the middle is when they call it the seasons changing over on the 21st, but it's actually not. It's actually on the 15th. Huh, that matches too, actually. There's so much symmetrics here. I could stay in here for days. And notice the symmetrics from trumpets to sin, 7, and then from sin to removal from the garden, 7. Huh, I didn't see that before. Creation to the day of rest. I want you to notice something that caught my attention. See anything in this line right here? Nothing ever happens on Tuesday. Nothing ever happens on Tuesday. Most of the events happen on, hold on, let me see what Friday does. Oh yeah, Friday has this event. Because they stage like this, symmetrics again. The one event, oh, there's another one. And I've often thought that maybe when she went to see, Jesus was conceived here on December the 25th. Exactly to the very day, 40 weeks later, Jesus was born on September the 30th. Where's that at? I've lost September because I don't think I had her highlight. Yeah, right here. Tishri 15. Jesus was born on this Tishri. So this is trumpets. And then 10, where's 10 at? 10 is, there's another one of those. So it goes trumpets to atonement to tabernacles. Trumpets, atonement, tabernacles. I didn't want to put too much on this thing because you can really cross-reference it to the timeline, which I have. So that's actually pretty cool. 1, 3, 1. Hold on, where'd I go? 1, 3, 3, and it's the third one down. 1, 3, 3, 1. I wonder what that means. If that means anything to anybody. 1, 3, 3, and then it's back on the first one. Anyway, 40 weeks later, to the very day, Jesus was born on Tabernacle. See, none of this will fit if you use 360 days, if you use the moon, if you use any other calculation. Now, you can change the Gregorian dates and start your head of the year. But once you started on a date, you're stuck for 364 days. You can't move it forwards or backwards. You have to stick with that date. And then, of course, you don't have Jesus being conceived on December the 25th. And again, I'm beginning to think that she traveled and saw her cousin Elizabeth and John left in the womb on January the 1st because there is no event. Oh, never mind. There is an event there. I forgot that. I passed that. At any rate, Tuesday and Friday have barely any events, but Thursday, Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday have all of the events in them. There's some symmetrics here. I have to work out the dates to make sure I have it all accurate. Of course, I have the Hebrew calendar accurate. That's definitely accurate, but I'm not completely sure about the Gregorian dates. I got to check them. I think they're accurate. But this story here about Mary going to see her cousin, the only thing we could possibly do is know that an egg travels down the tube and attaches to the uterine wall at some point between 5, I think it says 5 and 10 days. So that's why I chose this date, but I chose this date. It literally could be here. But for one thing that's not discussed or in discussion is that Jesus was born on tabernacles. Most will agree that he was born on tabernacles. And if you count back 40 weeks, you will land on December the 25th. And right here, tabernacles. So that's pretty incredible. I didn't see that symmetry. There's a lot of symmetrics here as I work on this. And unfortunately, I have to keep bugging Sister Sandy for help. And I hope I'm not bothering her too much, but she really is an asset in helping for this type of stuff. I could have never presented this in this fashion. Mine would have been in crayon, like the one I showed you. Where's it at? Crayon, but she fixes it. All right, so like I showed you a moment ago, Jesus was he was right here, October 31st, November 1st, the night of October the 31st is when Adam sinned. This is when the flood began. And then this is December the 25th. Where are you at? Right here. Jesus was conceived. If you add exactly 40 weeks to that date, and then 7 days, that's why I put this. I put January 1st, December, because I wasn't sure. lining it up the way I was very difficult till I put it on that graph. Now I know when all the Sabbaths are. It's so simple. There's no question either. Those are the Sabbaths. You can bank on it. So if you're a Seventh-day Adventist, you might want to check this graph out because there's your Sabbaths. They're all here. And if you're saying, well, it's Saturday because of Gregorian calendar, you're worshiping on a bad day, which you shouldn't worship on this the Sabbath anyway. You should know your Sabbaths because I think this is indicating when the rapture will occur on a Sabbath, on a full month. He will return. All right. So the big mosquito. Yeah. That's it. That's all I have. I had a whole video, but then when that came together, I said, well, let me not do what I normally do and put a whole bunch of information out here. Let me go in and explain this. Again, you have the website you can go to if you want to see this. This will also be posted in my room on the Discord, and you can go look at this. And you can print this out and say, no, I want to start the year on the equinox. All right, go ahead. Count it out. I'd be curious. Of course, none of this will change. None of this will ever change because I'm not basing it on the Gregorian date. I'm basing it on the Hebrew date. Nisan 1 is Rosh Hashanah. It is the head of the year. And on the seventh day, which is Thursday, the first day of the, and that's hard to explain to people sometimes, but this is when time was created. But this is the head of the year, which is technically a Thursday. And then Jesus went to the cross on a Wednesday on Nisan 14. So that can't be changed. We know he went to the cross on Nisan 14. We know that for a fact. And that's why you would have to start the year on Nisan 1. And then you come down here to trumpets. We know that trumpets is on Tishri 1. The Bible tells us. We know that on the 10th, Tishri 10, that we go to atonement. And then we know that on Tishri 15 is tabernacles. Jesus tabernacles with us. Something doesn't seem right. Is that atonement? Something's not right. Hold on a second. Let me go see something. I thought there was 10 days of awe. Where did it go? Let me make sure I'm not speaking incorrectly here. Let me go zoom in. Let's see here. So Tishri 1, Tishri 10, Tishri 15. Tishri 1, head of the year, Noah removes the covering. Tishri 10, at the end of the 10 days of awe. Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. This is the day Jesus began his ministry. He was about 30 years old. He was actually 5 days before he was 30. And then Jesus is born. He is born on Tabernacles, which happens 5 days. Why does that match up like that? That is actually, well, let me see something. Oh, so it runs through a whole week, doesn't it? Yeah. Trumpets. Yeah, it has to run. That's why it runs through the entire week, comes back around, comes here, and boom. That is atonement. And then it runs 5 days to here, Tishri 15, tabernacles, when Jesus is born. So you actually have this another arrow type thing, the same way I showed you with the other event, the arrow that happened. So, all right. Anyway, you can get this. I'm gonna go, like I said, set this as a premiere. I'll be in the chat group, in the chat room live, talking with you when this goes up. And I hope I verbalized it, articulated it correctly for you to understand that the Hebrew dates are actually correct. The Gregorian dates, I believe, are correct, but they're not what I'm leaning on. I'm leaning on the Bible itself and all of the biblical dates and how they fall in place. First day of creation, of course, the fifth day of the first day of creating time. He created time on a Wednesday. This is the first day of creating time. And so that's why if you don't create time, where's it at? If you don't begin creation here and end it here, Jesus will not go to the cross on a Wednesday on Nisan 14. It's not possible. All right, so I'll have this in Discord, and in my room. And again, the website, I don't know if Sister Sandy's put this up on her website quite yet. I'm guessing she did because she put her website at the bottom, so maybe she put it in there. But this is, in my opinion, the best template. 52 weeks, 7 days a week, 364 days a year, explaining to everyone when the Sabbaths are, when the high Sabbaths are. This is the Sabbath day, and it's the Rosh Chodesh. What it means. It's nothing to do with the moon, sliver, full, none of that stuff. But the end of the 16th, when David went to hide himself, it began to become, I would imagine, nightfall because he's hiding out in the dark, right? 3 days. So I would imagine it became nightfall, and he's signifying the 3 days Jesus spent in the grave, 3.5 days, 84 hours. So I'm guessing, of course, this has nothing to do with the moon. What David, when it was out there hiding, has nothing to do with how full the moon is, but it was the head of the month, and it was a Saturday. It's a very important day in the Bible. It is an appointed time. It is a kaseh. It's the day he throws down the tablets. The first of Av, July 16th. And then we're going to go to the 9th of Av. Then we're going to go to the 15th of Av, and then the 21st of Av, which is July 24th, July 30th, and August 5th. So, all right. Repo Man 64. Go in here and tell me what you think about whoops, they're over here, Sabbath. I keep pointing over here because I'm trying to do the whole Gregorian thing, but this is actually the Sabbath day right here. This is when time was created, and this is the first day of the week. And so subsequently, you have no events happening here and very few events happening here, and most of the events happening elsewhere. So not much going on Friday, not much going on, nothing going on Tuesday. Most of it going on the first day, on the Sabbath, on the Saturday Sabbath, and on Sunday when Jesus rose. These are very important days. These two are our most important days. Time and Thursday are very important days. I had to do it this way because if I would have put Rosh Hashanah over here in the middle and started the week off on Sunday right here, I would have had to start the week off on Nisan 4, and that would have been even more confusing, I think, for everybody to understand why there appears to be two events running simultaneously, two separate Sabbaths that happen, one on Saturday, one on Wednesday. And I'll just say this, it's because there are two Jubilees. God is showing us there are two Jubilees running simultaneously. There are two, what is that, 7-day? Yeah, I'm going to forget that word now. I forgot the word, but when Jesus started his ministry to the point of when he went to the cross, he was in the middle of that 7-year period. He completed 3.5 years of it, but it has nothing to do with the 7-year tribulation. Absolutely nothing to do with it. It's just showing us that he was here for those 3.5 years. Why? Because it was pointing out that Adam was created with age. He wasn't created as an embryo. He was created with age. Adam was 26.5 years old when he was created. He spent 7 years in the garden, and then he was removed when he was 33.5. In the year 26 AD and a half, Jesus began his ministry just 5 days before his birthday. His birthday falls on the 6-month anniversary from the cross. They are mirrored. They're exactly perfect. It's March 30th and September 30th. It's 182 days apart perfectly. So the year Jesus started was 26.5 AD. And the year he completed was 30.5 AD. I mean, I'm sorry, he was 30 and went to 33.5, but he started in the year 26 and completed, how did I do the math on that before? In the year 30 AD, which is the year 30 Jubilee. I got to write all that out. That's not my strong point. There's somebody else that's figured out we are in fact in the 6,000th year from creation. Another person I've seen figured out we are in the 5,993rd year from when Adam was removed from the garden. We are in the year 2,000 or 1,993 years from when Jesus went to the cross, and the 2,000 years from the year Jesus went to the cross in 2031, back up 7, you land right here in 2024. We're at it. And I think for me, this is the last piece of the puzzle for anybody trying to research this stuff after the rapture has occurred and trying to figure out when their day is coming. These are your Sabbaths. And commandment number 4, super clear on when the Sabbaths are and when to keep them holy. So if you were wanting to know when these Sabbaths are, you would go into a Gregorian calendar and look at, where are we at? What date are we close to? Let's see here. Watch it not line up after I did all this. Wouldn't that be something else? What are we looking at? July 16th? Where are we at right now? Is this July 14th? July 13th is what are we on, Saturday? Like I said, watch it not line up right now. That is not Wednesday. Hold on a second. This is July 13th. It is Saturday. Oh, I did that wrong. July 13th is the Sabbath, but July 13th is the Sabbath is July 16th, 3 days later. So this is a Sabbath, like I said, and this is a Sabbath. Oh, then the reason is I messed up. You have to go look at the 2022 calendar. That's why I'm like, what's going on? Hold on, let me take a look at the 2022 calendar real quick. Let's see. Wednesday, April the 13th. Oof, it was on a Wednesday. So, oh, July. Why am I looking at July? Hold on. I'm making mistakes right and left here. July 13th is also on a Wednesday. Okay. So back then, so the Sabbath would fall on the 16th of July, which it does, July 16th. So this would be a Wednesday in 2022. Phew, glad that lined up. I didn't even think about checking that because I can re-verify everything to the 2022 calendar. So in 2022, July 13th was a Wednesday, just like it says down here, July 13th. And then it goes to July 16th as being a Sabbath, which in fact on July 16th in 2022, it will be a Saturday. For us, now it won't be because the Gregorian calendar is only accurate once. I think the next time it's accurate is 2033 or 2036, something like that. It's way out. So the 2022 calendar. I actually need to do that. Sit down and check all these dates against the Gregorian and see where, I think around here where I had to hide a day because of the Gregorian calendar has an extra day. Around here, it might mess up on September the 19th because I had to put 2 days here to fix the rest of this because it starts to go wrong around September by that one day that I keep talking about. All right. Anyway, I could mumble all day long. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody. And accept the Lord into your heart. We are out of time. If I could scream that, that's what I would scream. We're out of time. Will the rapture occur? These are high watch days. I'm not saying the rapture is going to occur, but if that man with a bag of money and Jonathan hiding himself is Rosh Chodesh and it's a Sabbath, this is a very high watch date. This down here, Heshvan 1, October the 16th, would be a very high watch day, something to really pay attention to. So this is something to pay attention to. July 24th, the Noah story, just as in the days of Noah, 3 events, boom, 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 7 days apart, dove and raven, dove and the branch, dove doesn't return. These 3 dates are super important right here. So we have a lot of high watch days coming up here very shortly from July 16th, July 24th, July 30th, and August the 5th. So just keep watching. It's going to happen. Before you know it, you can be standing in heaven going, wow, that was fast. So, all right. I think I did everything else. There we go. Hope you enjoyed that. It took me over 5 years because I've struggled with this. How am I going to prove to them that was a Sabbath? I don't even know why I never thought of just doing what God said. 6 days you work, 7th day you rest. 6 days you work, 7 day you rest. And do that 52 times. Start your year on the head of the year, Nisan 1 and Tishri 1. And you can't go wrong. It's right there in black and white. You know the Sabbaths now. You know when they occur. So, all right. We'll see you in the live, and I hope you enjoy. How do I end this? Oh, right here.